Just start. So basically, my name is Alcina Agnes Erin, and I head the community for Chennai. And I've been with TC for nearly 7.5 years. So the community is a 3 years old community. And during this session, we have both new as well as old clients joining in. So we also welcome on behalf of the community to all our new clients as well as the old clients and also our team members from different locations. So I'm sure and I'm 100% sure that you will definitely enjoy the session and you'll learn a lot about your sleep and how it will be beneficial on your day-to-day life. And we have with us today Mr. Ignatius Raphael, who will be telling us about, how your sleep, which is we think is not that important, but it's very important in our day-to-day life. It also affects your business, your emotions, everything. So, warm welcome to Mr. Ignatius. So, handing it over to Mr. Ignatius.
Thank you, Alcina. And good evening, all. It's a pleasure to meet busy entrepreneurs in the midst of the day, Wednesday, 4 o'clock in the evening. So you've taken time off from your work. I'm honored. Thank you. And this topic is a very controversial topic because everybody has an opinion on this, starting from your grandmother to the doctor to sages to scientists to business owners to different leaders telling different things which works for them. So as a whole, we have all been confused. It is not taught in school, it's not taught in college. So there's no body of work which was available, especially if you studied, like I studied in school and college some 30 years ago. So if you have studied that far back, there was absolutely no body of information. Even today in school and college, there's no body of information. Forget school and college. In MBBS, there's no body of information on sleep. That is the amount of ignorance that we have on something which takes away 1/3 of our life. It's 1/3 of our life is spent in a process that we have not learned anything about. So today, in 1 hour, I hope to cover some ground. So it's going to be interactive. Don't worry, there is no right or wrong opinion. You're free to express it because we will discuss and evolve so that together we learn. It's something which you're going to do together because each of us have different experiences. So and there's no one key fits all. Okay, so don't worry at all whether your opinion is right, wrong. Voice it if you feel there's a doubt. If something is clashing with your belief system, please voice it. We'll discuss it and we'll respect each other's sake and move forward. I'll present you evidence of what I learned from the scientific field, as well as evidence from personal experience or through preachers and others. I mean, everybody speaks about the subject today. Okay, so let's get cracking. Let me start with the screen share. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay, so please rename yourself so that if you have a doubt, I can address you by name so that it will be easier. So we can at least recreate, we can have a human connection. Okay, it helps. If you're in the same room, it would have been great, but let's recreate the room, even though we are all distributed in different locations. Okay, so let's start with first, dive into yourself. Think of this question. What would happen if I never sleep? Just look back at what has happened to you if you didn't sleep for, let's say, 18 hours in a day, or 20, 24, 28, or 36, or 48 hours. Okay, some of you rename, I think somebody can help. You just go to your frame, your picture. On top, there are 3 dots. You right click on the 3 dots, you click on the 3 dots, and you'll have a rename. It's on your window where you see your camera or your name. Just go on top, there are 3 dots. You can click on it and there'll be renamed there. You can do that. Thank you. So what would happen if you never sleep? You can use a chat box or you can unmute and speak. If there's not that many people, you can unmute. But you can say me and I'll call out your name, or put your name in the chat box. I'll call out your name whenever you want to talk. So it'll be easier. So what would happen if you never sleep? Just think about this. Write it down. If you have a pen and paper with you, it would be great, because some things you would need a pen and paper. There are some things you will discover here, or some things you have to work out, because it's personal. It's about what is your sleep score, what is. So if you want to discover more about yourself, keep a pen and paper with you so that it will quickly get done. Okay. So energy. Okay, those questions I will answer as we go. Okay, what would happen if we never slept? Energy gets exhausted, laziness, dullness. If we never slept is the word. Okay, so we will go very much past all of this. Nobody has written it yet in the chat box, but you will die. If you never sleep, you will die. And you will die in, the maximum record is some 11 days or 18 days. That's it. Actually, you can live without food for something like for 21 days, 21 to 28 days without food, without water for 3 days. You can live without water for 3 days, without food for 3 weeks. But without sleep, you may last maximum 11 days. Okay. Yes, you'll go to God, or if you're like me, you might go to the devil. So we don't know. Okay. So let's see. So what would happen if we never slept? We would die. And what would happen if we reduce 2 hours from our daily sleep? We're supposed to sleep 8 hours. But what would happen if we reduce 2 hours from our daily sleep? We sleep only 6 hours. What will happen? You can type. Weakness, immunity, lack of concentration. Excellent. Yes, great. Fit. Stress. Yes. I saw that none of you wrote you will become Elon Musk. I thought somebody here will write, I'll become Elon Musk. Because some of us try to copy these guys who are sleeping less, but achieving so much in life. And we get tempted, right? We want to become, want to have that success. So we think if we sleep less, we can get that. Okay. So yes, somebody rightly said we become more productive. So these are things ex-President Trump. Okay, if somebody wants to become like him, yes, great. Okay, so basically the thing is we try and copy people who are successful, and we see these things that they do, and we take it in isolation, and we think that if I do this, I may get that. Not realizing there's a series of other stuff he's doing, which gets him the results. But we try and take the one aspect, and a lot of times it's backfired. I've seen it backfiring on people, which is why I'm going to talk about that. All right, so let me start with Dr. Matthew, Professor Dr. Matthew Walker. When I started a year back in this subject, this person was a godsend for me, because he's been working in this field for some 24, 25 years. He's a professor of neuroscience and founder and director for Human Sleep Science. He's a singular person who's done an enormous body of work in sleep research. So they have sleep labs, they've taken literally tens of thousands of case studies, and they've come up with a lot of data which is shared freely, which is available. He goes and talks in all sorts of places, Google, this, that, everywhere. He talks about it. You Google him, you'll get him. Now, you'll find so much of data which is backed by science. Okay. Now, I'm an Indian, right? So India, we used to believe grandmother, forefathers, we remember things which have been passed down for thousands of years. And that may not have scientific proof, but it has worked for us. So I'm an Eastern person, right? So I've grew up like this. But we also have an English education, so we want scientific proof. All right, when we have both of these, it becomes very powerful. So that's what basically we've done, where I want science to back up what innately our grandmother has said or our forefathers have said. When these two come together, it becomes very powerful. Because science is a baby. It is just evolving. All right. As it's evolving, because it needs replicatable results. Only then it says that this is the way it works. Till then, it won't say it. If they cannot get replicatable results, they will not say it. So if they say something, then more often than not, it works for that sect of people. So let's take it that they know what they're talking about. But let us counterposed to what is happening in my body. Because what's happening in your body, you only know. Dr. Matthew Walker doesn't know. You know, if you sleep like this, you wake up fresh, or you sleep like this, you don't wake up fresh, and how it has. So if you have become aware of your body, because everybody is unique, what will happen is you will be able to derive a set of what do you call it, routine, which will work for you. Because end of the day, your routine will be unique. That routine may not work for somebody else. But let's see if we can find that routine in this 1 hour. It's a tall ask, but I'm going to try and at least establish in this topic, establish the centrality of sleep, how much we should sleep, when we should sleep, and all the myths and things surrounding sleep, what happens during sleep, all of that we will discover as quickly as possible. All right. So I may not be able to answer everything which comes on chat. If it's important, you can say it again later when I open it up for questions. All right. So in terms of sleep, these are the right numbers, magic numbers. And this is done over millions of people's study across more than million sect across populations. So this is something which science has proven as the right number. So let's not listen to some head of a religious cult or somebody else who just says based on their personal experience, because it may work for them, the way they live, the type of food they eat, the type of stress they are facing, because what they are facing are different from what you are facing. All right. The general population, this is the number. Now, you may be somebody, I've met people like this in a workshop, who slept 4 hours or 5 hours for the last 30 years, and you're perfectly well and healthy. Okay. And these are called outliers. Okay, I'll answer you separately if you're one of them. If for 20, 30 years you've slept only 5 hours or 6 hours, and you're perfectly healthy and perfectly energetic, no loss of memory, no loss of, then we will discuss that separately. It is possible because there is a mutation, a genetic mutation, which affects 1 in 20,000 people, where you can get going with less sleep. But for the general, like Janta, like me, I have to sleep 8 hours. It's 7 to 8, 8.5 hours is the right amount of sleep that's required. Beyond 9 hours, you become, oversleeping, and below 7 hours, again, it becomes oversleeping. And these are for adults. I'm assuming all of us here are adults. So let us discover your sleep score. This is where I need you to have your pen and paper. All right, so take your pen and paper. I'm not going to give you this form. You can quickly do it right here. Okay, so there are 5 questions. For each of them, you have to give a score, whether it's 0, 1, or 2. How you rate it is the first question. If you are satisfied, it's a self-assessment. If you feel you're fully satisfied with your sleep, and it's always like that, then it is 2. When some days, let's say 3, 4 days in a week, you're satisfied, but other days you're not. So sometimes you're satisfied, it's 1. If you're very rarely, once or twice a month, or 3, 4 times a month, that's when I'm satisfied. That means it's rarely or never, which is 0. So this is how you score it. So each one's first, satisfaction. Are you satisfied? Second, alertness. Are you awake all day? You're alert all day and you don't feel drowsy or dozing. Then, and it's always like that, it's 2. Sometimes it's 1, rarely 0. So please type your name and your score in the chat box. Each of you need to type your name and score, only then I'll move forward. Please go ahead, use the chat box. If you don't understand any question, you can ask me. Timing. Are you asleep or trying to sleep? That means you woke up and you're going back to sleep between 2 and 4 a.m. Okay, it's not like you're getting into sleep at 2 or 3 in the a.m. That means it is rarely or never. You understand? Timing is you're already asleep, or you woke up in the midst of your sleep and you're going back to sleep between 2 and 4 a.m. Fourth is efficiency. See, when you enter bed, you don't immediately drop off to sleep. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So you might have taken 20 minutes to sleep, and then in the middle you woke up and you spent 10 minutes awake. So 20 plus 10, 30 minutes is what you were awake during your sleep time. So if it is less than 30 minutes, that is, and always like that, then you're at 2. The last question is duration. If the duration of sleep is 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8 hours, then it is 2. If it is 9 hours, then it is 0. Okay, that is, if you're always sleeping 9 hours plus, that is 0. If you're always sleeping 5.5 hours, again it's 0. So always, sometimes, rarely, you have to put that. Kaushik 8, Pranesh 2, Pranesh. Okay, Kaushik 8. Kaushik is good. So anything above 7 is good, but please do an honest score. It's for you. You need to know what your score is, because end of the day, if your sleep is not okay, you will be paying a price, and it comes suddenly, which is why I want you to become aware now so that you can correct it. Noel is 6, Abhinash is 6. Go ahead, Shraddha 5, Karthik 7. Go ahead. How many people are here?
31.
31, okay. So if you can tell me all done and let me know, I'll sign up. If you can just assist me in this to say that everybody is done, because they need to participate. Only then they get an idea of this. Astrid 6, Shivam 6. So I see a lot of 6, 7, and 8 and all that. There was 1, 2. I saw some more 4. Vikas is 4. Aldrin is 2. Okay. Shaitan is 4. Okay. All right. So we have between 4 and 8 is a score. And I think 30%, 40% are on below 7. Okay. So get your score. Can I move from this? I mean, you've all done this. Okay. So how does the score affect you? We will see how your score affects you. One more thing, you need to find out which animal type. What is your chronotype that you are? That means what is the you've heard of early birds and late night. So now there is a better way of classifying into 4 animal categories. So you can find your chronotype by I will. Okay, can you all go online and check your chronotype? That is, can you take this quiz? It's called the Power of When quiz. Can you see this? The Power of When quiz. I'll put it in the chat box. It will take you actually 5 minutes to get this done. Just get it done parallelly so that you all know what which chronotype you fall under. I'm just stopping the screen share. I put the link in the chat box. You can use that. Just quickly get your chronotype, because it will be interesting for you later when you see how why you do what you do. When you find this chronotype, it will help you understand it. And once you have done, you can just type done in the chat box. You can actually put your chronotype, whether you're a bear or a lion. So what is the chronotype you fall under? If you can put that, it'll be great. The result will come back to your mailbox, but you don't have to wait for that. When you finish it, if you scroll down, you'll find it. The result, just the animal type, that's all. You can read everything later because it will be there in your mailbox. Because dolphin, that's super quick, because really fast, lightning fingers, that is. Okay. All right, so others can also do. Let me move forward because we are already 20 minutes up.
Yeah, that's a problem. Like I'm quick, and that's the reason I can't sleep in the night. Like even if I turn off my work by 7 p.m. I mean, normally I turn off my work by 9 or 10, and I realized, it's not helping me sleep.
Right.
So I started shutting off at 7, but still things keep running in my head till 11, 12, 1, 2, and I can't sleep.
That's a dolphin, yes. Okay, good. So let's move forward. I'm going to start the screen share so that you can continue to do that later, okay, all of you, so that we can cover some ground. We have just another 40 minutes. Okay, so this is, yeah. So there are 4 types you notice. One is the bear. Okay, the bear is what 50% of the population is, 55% of the population. So this is how the 9 to 5 job timing itself was set. It was set for the bears because they are the majority of the population. So they work best between 10 and 5. So as you notice, their focus works are very good on 10 to 2, go to bed at 11, wake up at 7. So you can see the traits and other things. The wolf is somebody who goes to bed at 12 and wakes up at 7:30. And there are 15% of the population is wolf. These were what were called the late night owls. That is now called the wolf. Then you have the lions. They are the ones who go to bed early and wake up early. Again, 15% of the population is made up of the lions. And then we have the dolphins, like because so they have kind of intermittent sleep. They not only go to sleep, sometimes they may sleep early also, but wake up in the middle, then stay awake for some time, then again go back to sleep. So they're kind of there's too much happening in their head. So they're always not fully in deep sleep. So they are highly intelligent, but scatterbrained. Bursts of creative energy is there. So Vikas has rightly identified himself there. And all these are types of people. It's not to say this is good, that is good, this is bad. No, it is to understand your traits and why you work best at certain timings and why you don't work best at certain timings. Now, having understood that, you can change it also. Okay, it is not carved in stone. If you're a dolphin and you want to become a lion or a bear or a wolf, whatever, you want, because based on your job, your type of thing, you want to make some shifts, it's possible to do the shift. Because if this dolphin thing is not working for you, you can shift it. There is no issue. So, and you'll learn how to do it. I'm not going to teach them here. Okay, so this is just to tell you that whatever you are, you could shift. And secondly, as you age, you will shift. Whether you like it or not, as you age at different times in your life, you may fall into a different category of this. So don't worry about it. It just gives you an understanding that I'm not alone. The 15% of the population is like me, or 55% of the population is like me. At least you get to understand that. That's all. Okay, good. So what would happen if we reduce 2 hours from our daily sleep? We sleep only 6 hours. Now, too little sleep will affect your brain. You will have a harder time to make decisions. Your skin itself will sag. You'll have dark circles around your eyes. Immune system gets compromised. And your appetite kind of goes haywire. Because your metabolism has slowed down and appetite goes up. So you put on a few more inches around your waist. Okay, a lot of bears I see. Sanchita, Gaushik, Aldrich, a lot of bears. Good. Okay, so this just one night of 6 hours sleep can affect you. When you have 2, 3, 4, 5 nights, it adds up. All of this will keep adding up. So just one night, they've done a test and found the difference. Okay, so, and it's scientifically proven. So you don't have to go by what anybody else says. The fact is, most people get affected. There may be those very rare people who don't get affected. But if you're getting affected, that's probably because you're not getting enough sleep. That's it. That's all you have to see. If I'm getting affected, the cause may be because of not enough sleep. And you can correct it. Because you cannot ape somebody else. You cannot totally become somebody else. Look at what happened to Michael Jackson when he tried to become somebody else. Okay, you have to first be comfortable in your own skin. All right. You have to accept who you are, what your body is, how it is. Once you start accepting, then you can make it work for you, because you have certain dreams, you have certain objectives, you want to fulfill certain goals. Your body will support you if you first accept your body, and if you accept your body processes so that it serves you. Otherwise, you're working against your body. All right, so let's look at what is happening to you. Don't go by this fellow said that, that fellow said that. Look at this data, see whether it has sense to you. That is, has it affected you like that? If it has, then you have to take action about it. Is that clear? Okay, next. This is what it looks like. The left side, the kitchen, is what it looks like, that even just 1 or 2 days, you slept for 6 hours. Now, would you like to work and see what is happening is during the day, your mind is absorbing so much of data. That is, your eyes, your ears, your tongue, your nose, all the sensory organs are pulling in data. And billions of neurons are processing this data. It's just gathering it all. Now, when does it start filing it? It cannot file when you're awake. It files all of this when you go to sleep. Those 8 hours that you sleep is when your brain is working and consolidating the memory, doing problem solving, trying to make sense of the world so that you're better prepared the next day. In the process, it also repairs. It repairs the broken neurons. It repairs the DNA structure itself, which any broken helices are there. It recharges our battery cells, which is there in every cell of our body. We have an energy cell. It recharges it. So all this work can happen only when you sleep. It cannot happen when you're awake. Please remember, awake state is catabolic state. That is, catabolic means you burn energy. Sleep state is anabolic. That is, you build energy. Both have to work in tandem. You cannot keep burning energy without building energy. So if you're working really hard, really smart, doing a lot of stuff and want to achieve a lot, then you need to power up your oxygen. Now, what's happening? Oxygen. Because there's not enough oxygen if you didn't give it enough sleep. That's basically what is happening. If you deprived your body, then it goes into, it gets compromised. Immunity gets compromised. Ability to take decisions many things get compromised. You will see more of this as we go along. The same thing, you look at the right side image, how your mind looks when you have slept fully. You can cook again. Otherwise, if you keep cooking 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, that is, you're going without sleep basically. You're not cleaned up. You keep on keeping the dishes. 3rd day, you cannot cook at all. All right. So if you clean on a daily basis, then on a daily basis, you're 100% present. You're fully there. Your 100% potential is present on that day. If you slept fully the previous night, if you slept 2 hours less, that means 1/4 of you is not showing up. 2 hours out of 8 hours you cut away, you're only 3/4 there, right? You're not 100% there because that much of replenishment did not happen in you. And that is the sad part. And a lot of people learn to function in 70%, 80%, 60%, 50%. They don't even realize that they are smarter than who they are now. That's because they kept on stealing from sleep. If you keep stealing from your sleep, you're cutting away your own ability to function at your highest levels. That is the issue. Okay. So make sure your kitchen is clean. Every night, clean the kitchen, go to sleep, so that the next day you can cook again. Just remember this visual because this is so central. You have to give yourself that full night's sleep for you to be able to cook again the next day. Otherwise, you are cooking in a dirty kitchen. All right. So next, effects of sleep deprivation on cognition. Our increased tolerance puts us at risk because risk tolerance becomes higher. If you're using, let's say, sophisticated machinery or driving, okay, if you're not slept properly, you won't even realize you're taking a risk. You have decline in working memory, decreased psychomotor performance, increased errors, increased instance of micro sleep. Micro sleep is when your body is stealing sleep from you for a few seconds. You get more distracted, and attention intensive tasks you do very poorly. Next, the dangers of sleep deprivation are many fold, not just in cognition, not only in your brain. It also affects your heart. It affects higher risk of diabetes, higher risk of injury, unhealthy cravings. So you put on more weight because you're searching for the dessert counter. You're looking at more sugar, more carbohydrates. So you end up putting on more weight. If you're awake beyond 11 o'clock, you will automatically crave for sugar. You'll automatically, and you'll end up, because what's happening is the ghrelin production. It says that what makes you feel hungry, the ghrelin, or what makes you feel full, the leptin. Okay, ghrelin production is not halted, and the leptin production is so what makes you feel full is never there. So you don't feel you're full. You continue to eat. Lack of sleep causes it to get ORI, both the ghrelin and leptin. Breast cancer increase, stroke increase, disruption of circadian rhythm. There's a whole load. You can read all of them. Lack of sleep, your anxiety increases because your cortisol levels are high. See, during sleep, cortisol levels dip. But if you're awake, your cortisol levels are high. So you're always, your accelerator is pressed all the time. The parasympathetic is pressed. So what happens? Normally that happens only at the time of a problem. That is fight or flight. Okay. Happens when there is a danger. This is a primordial thing, right? The sleep. So we have to worry about animals attacking us. So it was a life and death situation for which this is pressed. For us today, a ping of a mobile phone becomes life or death. We start worrying, oh, who's a message? What is it from? Okay, small things make us press that accelerator. And so the cortisol level, when it stays high, it's really bad for the heart. So nearly 40% of adults fall asleep during the day without meaning to. Okay, at least once a month. So that shows that we are chronically sleep deprived as a race. It's for all of us, not just Americans. So what would happen if we never sleep? Okay. Now I'm not going to go through, you've seen some of these already in the other slide. You will find more of what would happen if we never slept. Okay, someone said we will die, but actually you will discover more. Let me come there. Our Earth itself is 4,500 years old. Okay, and the sleep is 500 million years old. That's a worm, okay, a prehistoric worm. 500 million years old. It was proven that it was, that was the first evidence of sleep, where it had a clear sleep cycle. Then every other organism sleeps, whether it's a dinosaur or the crocodile or the ape or our ancestors, we all sleep. And so sleep is 500 billion years old. It's just to give you a context to how old the process is and what is happening in the last 20 years to us. Look at 500 million years old, a process which is developed and evolved. And in 20 years, what we think we can take over. Okay, so you're just going to discover more of that. So how will people sleep in space or in, so this is the future, right? What we are doing today is actually going to affect our human race. So is the human race going to be there? How it's going to be there and so on. So this is how we evolved, right? I mean, from our ancestors to modern man. And modern man is really only 35,000 years old. But our, in terms of sleep design, it's about 200,000 years old. Homo sapiens, because we are all Homo sapiens, was formed 250,000 years old. And that is when the sleep itself, the way we sleep, the 8-hour sleep was designed. 8-hour sleep with how we sleep. I will show it to you in the next slides. So our human brain, if you can see, do you see the difference between the other brains and the human brain? It's the most complex brain in history or in the world. The human brain is the most complex. And this human brain was developed while we were asleep. The development of the human brain starts when you're asleep, not when you're awake. I hope you get that clearly. If you don't sleep, you're stunting the development of your brain and the future of your species itself. Okay, the species is the predominant species in the world on Earth because we allowed that sleep so we could develop the ability to become super intelligent, and we could develop the ability to form social bonds, work as communities, develop tools, do all the things that we are enjoying today. Today, we can talk to each other from wherever we are. You don't know me at all, but I'm now there in whichever room, wherever you are right now, in your room and in front of you. I'm able to communicate with you because it was born in the brain, and the brain itself was born during sleep. All right, sleep created the brain, and sleep replenished the brain every night when you sleep. So your ability to be smart is dependent on your ability to give it that rest so that it can become smart. Otherwise, you will lose memory, you will lose, and you'll think, oh, I'm like that. I forget names, I forget this, or maths I'm not good at, or this I'm not that. We make excuses, not realizing that we ourselves are starving our brain of getting the nourishment which will make us eat that smart. Okay, it can become that smart if we allow it to. All right. So the human brain, I'll tell you how it has evolved from sleep, because you might wonder, what do you mean by it is happening during sleep? I will show you. Okay, so this is the species. Okay, all species, different hours, just to give you an idea that scientists are measuring everything. Okay, we don't have to go and do the measurement. Scientists have measured and they're sharing the data with us. So we just have to take the data and postulate and see, okay, so 8 hours we are supposed to sleep. Let us at least take this for, the God's truth. Because scientists say you have to sleep for 8 hours. There must be some sense to it, right? So let's see if there is sense. Okay. So let me take you on an aside. Let's look at the dolphins and the great frigate birds. See, we have two parts of the brain, right? So two hemispheres, basically. So one hemisphere of the brain can sleep for these species. So dolphin can sleep with the left eye if it is sleeping. The right brain is sleeping. The right brain when the left eye goes to sleep. But with the right eye and the left brain, it keeps an eye so that it sees whether it is surviving. Second, its muscles are working so that it floats and breathes. It has to come up to the surface to breathe. If it doesn't, it will die, because of mammal. Similarly, the great frigate birds, if it stops flapping, it will plummet down, right? It has to continue to flap so that it can keep going. So they also have this unihemispheric slow wave sleep, where one half of the brain goes to sleep and the other half of the body goes to sleep. So that with this, they manage. So if the birds on the left side, the left wings will flap, the right wing will go to sleep. So as a flock, they go together. Okay, they have developed the ability to synchronize themselves and they take turns. So the leader will come back and the left flank will move to the right flank. So they'll keep changing so that they get their sleep even while they are flying. So this is the design of sleep. Why I want to tell you this is God has created a design for man for sleep. And if we use it right, then we will get the full benefit. Otherwise, we are cutting out our hand or leg or something to try and be competitive and keep up with the Joneses. That's really what we are doing. Hey, that fellow is working at 11 o'clock. I should also work at 11 o'clock. Okay. See, if that guy is getting a heart attack, should I also get a heart attack? No, right? So you don't know when he's going to get a heart attack, because I got into this field. It was a friend of mine who's less than 40 died. He died before his 40th birthday, perfectly healthy guy. And the only reason is lack of sleep. And that is why I got into this a year back. And the more and more I find out about sleep, it's an amazing, potent thing that we need to take control of for us to be able to lead a full life. Okay, and it is possible. So stay with me. I said the brain gets created during sleep in the fetus. What is happening is 95% of the time the fetus is asleep. And in that time, the brain formation is the first thing which happens. And in the last 3-4 weeks, the REM sleep is a maximum. There is a non-REM sleep and REM sleep. The REM sleep is maximum, where all the memory which it had been gathering over the 8 months gets consolidated and put in various places. And the final spindles are created so that the neuronal connections are all made so that the baby is ready to come out. So it's a beautiful period when the brain of that child is formed, and it's done because of sleep. And it needs to go back to sleep. The beginning phases, a child needs far more sleep. You know, seen 16 to 18 hours. And it's only when the child is about 4 years or 5 years of age, it moves from a polyphasic. Polyphasic means multiple times it sleep to a biphasic sleep. Around 4 years, it moves to biphasic. That means afternoon nap and night sleep. And then later it may become uniphasic. That is one phase, only nighttime sleep. There are some communities which have the biphasic, where they sleep in the afternoon also. But these sleeps are required for the brain so that you can become more productive. So coming back to Alcina, I just want to have a quick question. Alcina, are you there? All right. Okay, when she comes back, let me know. All right, the hypnogram. This is how the sleep itself designed. Okay, I'll show it to you better in this one. This is a typical night sleep. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 you're seeing are cycles. First cycle, second cycle, third cycle, and so on. And the stages of sleep are awake, REM, light sleep, deep sleep. And in every cycle, we go from awake to REM to light sleep to deep sleep, back to light, REM, and sometimes we touch awake and sometimes we slip back to light sleep. So this is how our sleep is constructed. Okay. And 5 cycles means into 1.5 hours makes 7.5 hours sleep. It takes us 15-20 minutes to fall asleep. And sometimes midnight or 3 o'clock or something, you might be awake for 10 minutes. You might have got up in mid-to-between. So together it's 8 hours. 7.5 hours of sleep in 5 cycles of 90 minutes each, and an awake time of maximum half an hour makes it 8 hours. So this is a construct of sleep. And the first portion, we have more deep sleep. And during deep sleep, the organs get repaired. And the organs meaning whether your liver, your spleen, your kidneys, heart, every part of the body gets repaired at different times. There's a schedule, like a housekeeping crew. While we are asleep, this crew works. Now, if you're not asleep at that time, as per the circadian clock, that means between 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., if you're not asleep, that portion, when you're not at sleep, that area of your body does not get the housekeeping crew. So that organ does not get repaired for that day. So that is why our body, which is designed to live to 120 years, can die at 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, depending on how we treated it, whether we gave it the sleep, whether we gave the right nourishment, exercise, or other things. The foundational thing is sleep. Okay, if you gave it the right sleep, the repair will happen. If not, no. Alcina, I just wanted to know exactly 5 o'clock hard stop, or is it, do you have another 5-10 minutes for questions?
Yeah, we can spare in the five minutes.
5 minutes after that. Okay, fine. All right. So let me just finish with this. Okay, let me accordingly plan. Okay. So the typical night sleep is this. This is the most crucial thing, so that you know when you have to go to sleep. You need to go to bed by 10 o'clock or 10:30 maximum, so that by 11 you're in deep sleep. Because if you notice that dip, when it hits deep sleep is when the repair starts happening of those organs. And those organ repair happen 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. based on which geography you're in, whichever geography you're in. Because once your body sets into that, otherwise it's jet lag. Because body is in one, while your actual geography is another. But if you're not in jet lag, it has settled down. Then that's when you're in synchrony. So make sure that your sleep, whatever bear type or dolphin type, whichever, ensure that your sleep is between 10 to 10:30 for you to get the benefit of the healing of all the organs. If you want it, if you don't want it, it's okay. But this is how it works. Okay, 11 to 3, if that deep sleep you give the body, it works. Now, the 3 to 5 or 6 is where the REM sleep, that's the brain development and your memory consolidation and other things start happening. Innovation, problem solving, all of that happens the second part. So the first part is for the body, and it also for the mind. The memory consolidation happens. It moves memory from hippocampus, short-term memory, to the cortex for long-term memory. Because every night it empties short-term memory so that next day it's ready to absorb more things. It empties short-term and takes it and puts it in long-term every night. That's why they say, a student should sleep after studying, because that will consolidate the memory. Otherwise, they don't sleep. Next day, you have to keep reading the same thing again and again because you're not going to remember. If you give it the sleep, the memory will work for you. So totally, we spend light sleep about 50%, deep sleep about 20%, and REM sleep about 20-25%. So this is the total structure of our sleep. And during awake state, we have beta waves. During just before sleep is alpha, light sleep is theta, and deep sleep is delta waves. This is a way the waves look. In REM sleep, we go back to beta waves. It's almost like awake state. And this is what happens during non-REM and during REM sleep. You can quickly read it. So non-REM, that is the first portion of our sleep, as you notice. Flush out toxins from brain. The unused synapses, that is what parts of the brain you're not using, it prunes out. Mental recovery and learning happens. Cellular and organs repair happens. Move memories from short-term to long-term. REM sleep, physical recovery from workout. If you've learned cycling or swimming and all that, it gets consolidated during REM sleep. Your memory gets muscular memory gets consolidated at that time. Procedural memory, such as new physical skills, mental, all of that gets done during REM sleep. So it's so critical for us to become smarter, more productive, happier, whatever you want to call it. Without that sleep, you cannot be all of that. So this is a program which I conduct, basically a deep sleep formula, which helps people. That is what you see. DSF is deep sleep formula. PMR is personalized morning routine. I'll just quickly tell you this so you can catch up. 1 hour after you wake up, how do you design it? Okay, how do you power up your day? Okay, how do you give yourself purpose? And do you get your body exercised? Do you get your heart pumping? Do you connect with your creator? Do you spend time with yourself to look at your short-term, mid-term, long-term goals? Do you look at your life purpose? So what are the things that you are looking at that first hour will help you define the whole day. Then at night, that PNR is 1 hour before sleeping. Prepare that 1 hour. What are you going to do? Because that means you're winding off the day. You're making a to-do for the next day. You're giving gratitude for all the things which have happened. You ensure that, you ask forgiveness, whatever you need to complete the day so that you go to sleep, clean slate. And then you're able to get properly woken up the next day. So this PMR plus PNR will give you deep sleep. And overall, this formula is what we work. That is a 1 week program. Then we have 1 month. Then we have 4 months. So all of this works with this particular formula. All right. Now, I'll just quickly take you through the mind map, which will give you an idea of, it will be a quick recap. The physical body is healed with sleep. Okay. The sleep is our superpower. Okay. The physical body gets healed. Our organs get repaired. Dead cells are flushed out. Cortisol levels are lowered. Sleep time is housekeeping time for your body. Where toxins are removed. Cellular level repairs take place. Every cell gets repaired. Every DNA gets repaired. That's the beauty during sleep. It protects you from accidents. If you don't sleep, you can get into an accident. You can age prematurely. You can become fat. Heart attacks, early deaths, Alzheimer's. All of those are negative effects of sleep deprivation. improves your brain, memory, cognition, decision making, problem solving, critical thinking. All of that gets enhanced by sleep. Your looks, why do they say beauty sleep? Your skin will be soft, dark patches don't come, so it's firm. You look better. I mean, these are done scientifically. I have case study. I mean, I have what do you call it? Research papers on this where they've done study on showing pictures of sleep deprived persons. Sleep deprived by just 2 hours for one night. How their face is different as against if they slept at full 8 hours. That's the power of the sleep. One night of sleep deprivation can cause it. When you do it for 2, 3, 4 nights, 1 month, 2 months, you're building. You're going on building it. Our body is so forgiving. Okay, it takes a lot of crap from us. Okay, it keeps on adjusting, but one day it just stops. That is a problem. And at that time, you cannot go back. So it's better that you take care of it now because it is serving you for 16 hours. You serve it for 8 hours. That's all you need to do. It's serving you for 16 hours, non-stop. So your looks gets improved, your emotions become reduced stress levels, calmer, relaxed, more loving. Your finances get improved because you're more productive, better decision making. There's more energy at work, better relationships at work. Problem solving improves. And you spot opportunities. Otherwise, you won't spot it. All of this is because of these hormones, okay? These glands and these hormones. I'm not going to get into this because I want more question answers. So I'm going to get it. I'm not going to get a FAQ because I want you guys to ask the questions. And the science of sleep, not required now. My contact details I will share in a thing. So I'm going to stop the share. I want question and answers so that I can come back to this if any of you have any questions on this. Go ahead, you can open your camera and we can interact. All quiet, totally stunned.
Yeah, so this is Vikas, and yeah, I just want to know, like, how do you fall asleep like sooner, right?
Oh, okay.
Because that's better. And then I'm trying to do meditation as well in the night, like for like 10 minutes.
Because, and all of you, basically examine your hour when you wake up and hour when you go to sleep. So sleep actually starts when you wake up. First, you have to wake up without an alarm. If you wake up without an alarm, you've got full sleep. Otherwise, you didn't get full sleep. It's very, very simply that, okay? Your full body's requirement of sleep was got if you woke up without an alarm. So first throw that alarm out, okay? It is not good for you. So if you need to sleep, wake up early, you go to sleep early. That's all. It's as simple as that. If you have to wake up at 5, then you go to sleep at 9 or 9:30 or whatever. You can't go to sleep at 12 and wake up at 5. That's why the body is not waking up and you need an alarm. That sound is coming. You wake up with a fright. Okay, you're waking up on a negative note with stress. You should wake up beautifully, coming out naturally out of your sleep. So your sleeping starts with your waking up. Okay, wake up naturally without an alarm. 1. So, and look at your first hour. Are you exercising? Are you connecting with the purpose? Are you getting sunlight? Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
So prepare your day such that you are powered up for the day. So sunlight is very important because your body clock gets reset. A lot of people see the first sunlight probably in the afternoon or evening. So what happens? They become dolphins or wolves because they don't see the sunrise at all. Their body clock thinks at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, oh, this is sunrise. Because that's when they see the sun. Okay, so that is wrong. You have to get it the sun at around 7 o'clock, between 6:30 and 7:38. When you get that in, your body clock corrects. Then it knows that 12 hours later sunset, and 3 hours after that is production of melatonin, and 1 hour after that you'll be asleep. That's how it's designed. The design is like that. You fall into the design, it will work. So look at your morning schedule and your night schedule. Night schedule, eat dinner 2-3 hours earlier before your planned sleep time. Let's say 10 o'clock is your sleep time. By 7, maximum 8, you should have your dinner. If you can have it at 6, great. Okay. So between 6 and 8, if you have dinner, you can sleep between 10 and 30. It's okay. 1. 2 is you make sure lights are down the last 1 hour before you sleep. No harsh lights, no television, no social media, no computer, no mobile. No mobile, no computer, 1 hour, that PMR and PNR time, the morning routine first hour, last 1 hour, none of these distractions. If you can keep them out of your bedroom, you'll be perfectly fine. You won't have any issues at all. You have to prepare your day like that. See, if you're working 24/7, your number of years are going to be cut down tremendously. I lost my friend at the age of 39 plus, less than 40, he died. Perfectly healthy guy. No other, everything he had. He had money, he had success, he had everything. But he worked so hard. That's it. He just worked so hard. He was very good at everything he did. That's it. He even exercised. He used to go for, marathons, and he's done everything. But that is not enough. If you steal from sleep, sleep will steal from you. That's it. You have to watch out.
Okay. Yeah. So these tips, I mean, mostly are external. So of course, I believe that, even externally, you have to do some things to cope up with your sleep. But most importantly, how do you switch off your mind?
Yeah. So when you switch off your mobile, it'll one of the things is that. Two is there's something called journaling. You can have a notebook with you at night where you put down all the thoughts. Just write it as it comes. But tell yourself that tomorrow, next day morning, you'll pay attention to it. Next day morning, after your morning routine, 1 hour. Okay. You'll take it up and you look at those thoughts. So you're basically tricking your mind. You're telling your mind, I'm paying attention to these thoughts. I will take care of them tomorrow. Note it down and then tell your mind, shut up, and go to sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like training a dog or a wild animal. See, your mind, you have multiple things there. So your prefrontal cortex is the one which takes logical decisions. That should be the captain. The amygdala, which is the emotional part, which is having all those fears and all that. FOMO, fears, all of that thing is running the amygdala. Okay. So this should control that. And that's possible by journaling. There are many techniques. That's what I teach in my course. The 5-day course is about managing your mind only. It's not about sleeping, right? It's about managing our mind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did all this, of course, like by searching and stuff. And
journaling you've done?
Sorry? Yeah, journaling I've done. Yeah.
How often do you do it every night?
I mean, again, I started recently, and at some point in the past I did, and I discontinued. And then after that, now like recently again I started. But I guess, I mean, it may be a thing of a practice, but I think over the time, I hope it doesn't affect. But at least as of now, I don't see it helping much. Like I write it down, but still it's in the mind.
So something like around 21 techniques is what I teach in that 5-day course.
Okay.
So not all of that can be done in like 1 hour where I've tried to. So obviously there's one other technique which you would have heard of Brahmani Pranayama. You've heard of that?
Oh, no.
Have you heard of that? That basically works like this. You see this part of the ear, you shut your ear with this. Once you shut it, you can't hear any sound. And then you basically, you can either keep your hands like this, or the simplest way is just this. Just close this and then breathe in. And when you breathe out, you leave out the air with a buzzing sound. You make a sound as though it's a bumblebee going in your head. I'll make the sound once, then you'll see. So you pull it out as deep as possible. Okay. 9 times you do this before you go to sleep. Because that's another way of clearing your head and getting yourself ready to sleep. It's called Brahmani Pranayama. You can search it on the net also. Do that. So it depends. See, some keys work for some people, some other keys work for some other people. So we'll have to find out which key works for you. So that's why we have this 5-day course, and then we have a 30-day course and all of that.
Okay. I think yeah, this is like really helpful. I'm hearing this for the first time, but I tried this Navy technique, trying to sleep in like 2 minutes, whatever, like some things that I
Done.
searched, but I guess I'll try this. Yeah, thank you for this.
Done, Vikas. So welcome. Any other questions? Anybody else?
Sir, this is Kaushik from Nangia. I just wanted to tell you that I'll just tell you my daily routine. Just correct me if I'm wrong. So I wake up at 5:30 or sometime. So I wake up in the morning and I view my classes. I don't do any exercise, as you said. I'll be viewing my classes for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. After at 9:30, I'll start my work till 6:30 or 7. I'll be working. After some time, I'll go for dinner and I'll start studying or do my art because I'm actually planning my PG also. So I'll be working for that. So what am I doing wrong? Is this fine? Because the reason why I'm doing this is we had a common friend who she used to toil all day. Maximum she'll sleep is for 4 hours. The way she comes, she'll be very tired. We'll actually tell her that please do sleep. Why are you doing like this? But she was the one who was very successful in our batch. So we thought we can take inspiration from her. We were also like what you said. We try to ape her. That's what we group of friends we are doing it because we were like, oh my god, how was she able to do it? So we kind of took inspiration from her. So like from after attending this class, I feel I should change it. So what are we doing wrong? Are we right in doing all this?
So how many hours sleep are you getting?
Daily minimum 6 hours, maximum 6.5 hours. That's all.
Okay. All right. See, for studying, you need your memory to work because otherwise you'll be going on studying and restudying the same thing. So take a 10-minute, 15-minute nap before you study also. And then after you study again, you take a nap because that will consolidate your memory. See, the 10-15 minutes nap up to 20 minutes is basically, it helps you clear out your hippocampus, which is your short-term memory, and allows you to, it keeps your mind ready to absorb new information. So sleep before and sleep after, both are required when you're studying. So early morning studying, great, there's no issue. So because anyway, your mind is fresh, you will be able to get it in. The night study, so just before that night study, you give yourself 15-20 minutes, then you do your study, then you go back to sleep. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Is there any other questions?
Very good evening. So we are going to avoid all tech gadgets. So which is what you mean to say before and after you sleep, like 1 hour before and after.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to avoid all gadgets. No TV also, no computer, no emails, no mobile. Because that's very distract. That's why your mind is racing all the time. And you need your cortisol levels to fall down for melatonin to kick in. See, actually cortisol falls down, melatonin kicks in. That handover should happen. Otherwise, you don't get your full sleep. It's a disturbed sleep. We don't even realize it. You would have slept even 8 hours and you may even feel energized, but that full sleep may not have come. So that's the issue.
Because we also keep in mind our profession, which is at stake at the same time. So, if we completely avoid all these things, our work is also getting affected. So, that should also not be even gone for a toss.
16 hours you're working.
Yeah.
So that 16 hours to be meaningful, that 8 hours is required. So that you need to, otherwise it won't be meaningful. You'll be constantly making it lesser and lesser.
That's right.
So
thank you so much.
Yeah, most welcome, Pranesh.
So Ignatius, I have a question. So during this pandemic, so most of us are working from home.
Yeah.
And I see many of us tend to sleep most of the time. So there should be any gap or any break where, we can plan our daily routine, maybe like 4 hours or 2 hours of sleep or something like that. So because excess of sleep also puts on weight.
Yes, absolutely.
What I have read.
Absolutely right. Excessive sleep is bad. And that means you're talking of 10 hours sleep, 11 hours, 9, 10, 11 hours sleep per day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay. No, that is bad. That means, see, there are 2-3 things. One is, the body normally would not take 10, 11 hours sleep. Normally would not because it needs only 8 hours sleep. If you slept properly those 8 hours. Now that properly, why I use a term is some of us have either snoring problem or some constriction where we don't get full oxygen in. Breathing, some obstruction is there, which prevents oxygen coming in fully. So we need to sleep a little longer. Actually, it is a medical condition that needs to be sorted out. It's only if you have a medical condition, you will end up sleeping more hours. Otherwise, a body cannot handle more than 8 hours of sleep, 8.5 hours of sleep. If it's taking more, then there is a requirement for you to check with the doctor. It could be snoring, sleep apnea. There are many such conditions which prevents you getting the full quality of that sleep. When you sleep that 1 hour, you're not getting the full quality. It's a disturbed sleep, which is why you're sleeping longer.
Okay.
Okay. So otherwise, this biphasic sleep is okay. That means you sleep 6 hours in the night and 2 hours in the afternoon. That is okay. It's still totally 8 hours only.
So it's fine having a break between.
Yeah, break is okay if you're used to it, and if it's comfortable for you, that's perfect. There are societies like that. Actually, in Greece, Mediterranean countries, they're like that. Even in India, there's a lot of. I know all the Faujis, for example. They typically the army officer will have one room next to his office where they have a shut-eye. So anywhere from half an hour to 1.5 hours, they have a shut-eye in the afternoon. It's perfectly acceptable. If it's 20 minutes, it's just a nap. If it's 1.5 hours, it's an actual sleep. That means at night, they'll be sleeping that much less. That 8 hours, it's actually taking away from that 8 hours when you're sleeping for 1.5 hours. I have a friend who does early morning cycling. He leaves at 4 and he goes to bed around 10 o'clock. 10 to 4, he sleeps 6 hours, but afternoon he sleeps 1.5, 2 hours. That's perfectly okay. So he still gets his 7.5, 8 hours.
Okay, so as you said, like before sleeping, you should make sure like at least an hour before you need to switch off all the gadgets and so. So will reading books help in getting a sound sleep, or is there any other way, or meditation?
Reading a book is okay. Actually, as long as it's in like dim light and you're not, make sure the lights are done. Light is the biggest pollutant. The blue light and also any harsh white lights. That is the main thing. Dim the lights. Reading is okay.
Is there any light that helps you calm your mind?
Light that helps you calm your mind. Is that the question?
Yeah, like I mean, it depends on the color, right? I mean, normally somewhere I've seen somewhere in a city when they tried out with blue lights, apparently the violence or crime rate has gone down in a city. So this.
Yeah, but for sleep, blue lights is not good. Blue light is specifically not good to help you get sleep. In fact, it's prohibited in the bedroom. Blue lights.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I was just giving a case, but is there any such sort of light that sort of eases your mind? Because I guess it also has to do with the color. Like I mean, if you see in hospitals, they use green color because green color is more sensitive to your eyes. Like so, similarly, is there any color that helps you?
Yeah, as of now, I don't know of any such thing, but it has to be dim light first. So it's color is immaterial, no blue light, and dim let's have those small yellow warm lights or all that is okay. Or music, good music could help you rather than light. And I don't know of any light which helps help you to sleep. I have not found that yet.
Okay. I mean, music is also something that again, that's I don't know if it helps actually, but it actually distracts the sleep. That's what I noticed because the rhythm keeps going in the back of your mind, right? So
it depends what music actually. There are there are sleep music itself. If you just search for sleep music itself, you'll get that. You'll get white noise. That is, it mimics what you hear in the womb. So there are different, that's for babies to help them to sleep. So different ages, see, some people listen to classical music to help them to sleep. As long as not hard rock, not something which is jarring, anything pleasant, anything which soothes you. That's what what soothes you. Each person has different tastes. So what suits you is what you have to look at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. One last question. If you're deprived of sleep for a year or so, will it have a very big impact on your future? Or after that, if you're able to cope up with your sleep time, is it fine? Or will it have a
How many
lasting
hours
impact?
of sleep are you deprived?
I'm like my friend. I'm talking about my friend. He's like currently in my office only. He sleeps for around 5 hours a day
Okay.
because of work and other commitments.
Yeah.
So he's been doing that for the last 2 years. So I thought I could just help him after asking.
So whatever damage to the organs and other things are irredeemable. See, the organ growth for that day is lost. As I told you, the liver and each organ has a lifespan of 100, 120 years. Your kidney has 80. So 2 kidneys have 160 years. Your liver can live up to 120 years. See, our human body is designed to live to 120 years. But as we keep, reducing it by lack of not taking care of it, the number of years keep dropping. So I never know at what stage he would be in. Every day lost is lost. It's not bankable. It's not something you can make up. The only thing you're making up is your tiredness. That you can make up. Okay, but the repair and rejuvenation, that you can't make up. That's gone.
Okay.
Is that clear? Tiredness you can make up. So that the body will steal from you, make you sleep at some point. One day you'll sleep for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. 5 days you work hard. Weekend you sleep very, very long, 10, 12, 14 hours. That's possible. That's only for tiredness, to recoup the tiredness. But your repair of those organs are not happening that. That is not bankable. That is gone. Any damage to the brain, that damage is done. Cannot be looked at. So all those damages are irretrievable. The only thing you can retrieve is your tiredness. That's all.
So anything between 6 to 8 hours will do, right?
7.5 hours is absolutely must. I'm finding it more and more, except if your body, your 1 in 20,000 people have a gene mutation, which allows them to get away with lesser sleep. So it is possible that there is 1 or 2 people like that. Whether you're like that is a question mark. Okay. Whether you're like that, it depends on how you feel. You have to be sensitive to your body. You should know when it is really tired and you're denying it the sleep. That awareness you should have. Correct?
Yes.
Because your body only you will know. So don't go by other people's, because that is erroneous. It may not work for you at all. And the best way to find out is without an alarm, waking up without an alarm. So when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up, that is the number of hours your body needs. And if you see it over 10 days or 2 weeks, it will settle down. Because initially it will still get more sleep. You may be shocked, oh, 9 hours I slept. It's okay. After some time, you'll suddenly find that 7.5, 8 hours you're awake and you're feeling totally fine. In which case, that is the time for you. So find out what your body needs by allowing it to sleep without any disturbance, without any alarm for a few days. For 10 days, you watch it. Then you'll see what you need. Then based on what time you have to wake up, accordingly, you plan backwards and go to sleep. So that naturally you'll wake up at that time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Alcina, so are we done? I mean,
Yes,
I think
we are done.
thought a bit.
So, on behalf of TEC community, we would like to thank Ignatius for getting us out of the trend. To be successful, you don't need to sleep. Okay, to be successful, it is mandatory for a person to sleep because your body requires that particular energy for the next day work. And during this pandemic, again, it's very important for a person to have a correct immunity. So that again, your sleep contributes to you. So we wish all of you to have a very good and sound sleep. Thank you, Ignatius, for sharing all your knowledge.
Most welcome. Thank you all. Thank you all for your patience. Catch up again later. Bye.